A green day. A much needed green day. A volatility break. Actual short liquidations of worth going on. It's been a long time coming, but it feels good. 20 IQ season. I would love that to be the case. I would love it if it was 20 IQ season. I would have a blast. So I'm hoping that's the situation. We'll get into discussing the charts. Obviously, I mean it's pretty clear in terms of like what we're seeing right now. Lower time frame perspective. We'll discuss kind of hopefully wider application of the thought process that we'll see on lower time frame, and then go from there. All right, well, given the price action, we may as well just get straight into it. And so we'll start off with BTC today. And we'll just take a look at this level through here, you know, kind of like just from a simplicity perspective. We've got this very, very clean, clean breakout. And the 4 hour has been building to this. I think probably the build-up maybe caused some people some concerns through this region. Small, you can say on Twitter, by the way, I can see everything there, right? So I can see all of the Twitter posts as well, not just Twitch. So we got the clean breakout. The 4 hour was pushing for it. We can see this build-up area that we got through here, which is actually really nice, but also I think would have caused people concerns in the one area of price action, which really was the fuckery point of today. Now, typically what we've had in these market conditions is we've had very strong move in one direction, strong wick, and then that counter move the opposite way. And it's tended to be that the counter move in the opposite direction is the one that sticks. But what we didn't get today is that counter move. We actually just got the wick, and then we got continuation in that direction of the wick as well. So the area down here was the area that I think probably would have caused people concern if people are looking at it to the same degree that I am. We had this move here, which basically takes us above all of the price action that we've seen for the last kind of, 10 days or so through here. And when this started to reverse, more I would say on the hourly, when this hourly candle here started to kick in, I think that would have been concern for a lot of people here. And when we've got all of this price action here built up, then it looked like an area that we might end up coming back down here and attacking some of this. That probably would have left us more in the range scenario again. We've taken more of the upside here. We would have come back for this downside here, and we would have just been back into that ranging environment. Fortunately, however, we've achieved the breakout on the 4 hour, and so that makes this chart a lot more attractive. What it also does now is it makes this chart more attractive for everything else. So all of the other charts now, very similar pictures. Ethereum, very similar picture to this. Sol, higher time frame, similar picture to this. We've got something which is representing a very clear and strong 4 hour breakout of consolidation chop ranges that we've seen before. Very good situation to be in. Now, we know through just kind of like a simplicity perspective, what we can do now is we can just have a simple bias, which is here. Okay, we can just say, well, look, I'm bullish above this level on the 4 hour. That's a good level for me to remain bullish. And then if we drop down here, then I have to shift my bias again. So I'm either going to become bearish or I'm going to become cautious, depending on which way we want to phrase it, right? And so this level now is just our kind of our line in the sand that we're going to be utilizing. This level is also the level from a risk reward perspective that we're going to be using for invalidation or not. So whenever we're thinking about playing into breakouts, whether or not that's a 4 hour breakout like this, it's this level here that is the level that we want to be avoiding and staying back above. So we need to have our stop loss established to make sure that we are doing so, and then targets of wherever you're targeting. Now, we know from the higher time frame perspective, this weekly area here is still our main problem. This area here is still the big problem for BTC. This 70K zone is the problem, is the area that BTC needs to break through on the weekly chart. Now, what we do have, which is the potential, very hopeful sign, is that we've got this market structure shift potentially here. So at the moment, we've got our lows and we've got our lower highs, okay, and we're just trading through here. Now, this is a change, right? So now what will become the target point for us is up here. Right? This is going to become the target point that we're going to be looking at here, so 68,500. If we can break through this high, we flip the market structure back into an uptrending market, and we break out of this on a weekly time frame. I'm sure over the course of the next week or so, you'll start to see the meme lines across here as well. So we'll start even factoring in diagonal breakouts of what we're going to get through here. But very solid setup, especially if this manages to hold as a higher low through here on the higher time frames. Very good situation. So when we're using this level now, it really just becomes our invalidation point, certainly from a lower time frame perspective. If we're using the higher time frame, then still you can have an argument for using 56K here if you have the ability for spot positions, whatever it might be. This might be your higher time frame level that you don't want to see compromised. But lower time frame, this is certainly where you would want to see us hold back up. Retests down here are going to be kind of the next question. Are we going to get retests back into this level or not? Maybe. I don't know the answer to what that's going to do, whether or not we're going to get back down here or not. From my perspective, I don't like to see breakouts have retests. I like to see them just make the move. And so I would rather us not get back here, certainly not for the next kind of few days. I'd rather us not immediately come and trade back into this zone like this. If we want to do like something like this first and then have an aggressive sell-off here, fine. But just don't give that immediate move back into this area. It's not really what you want to see here. You want to see this strength materialize and push us away. If we have one of those days where we get, very sharp reaction, gets down here, this is the buy zone, and then moves back, that would be wonderful. Right, so that's like the 4-hour chart and how we can set our bias through here. And so obviously with that, that the bias would be to the upside. Also a word on the fact that I don't think that you're late to any of the positioning through here as well. Kind of just reiterating that point. I think you're very early. The tweet that I sent out before was really just about the way that you can use levels like this for very simple risk reward. So you just want to be using these levels for your very simple setups. You don't have to overcomplicate this. You've avoided this. Okay, well, you haven't because you're on my stream, which means that you've definitely been trading this range before and you've been getting chopped up. But this means that you don't need an entry from down here. You don't need an entry from here. You don't need an entry from here. You can trade and make decisions based on what this candle close is going to do. And so that's what I mean. You're still very early to this. If we talk about kind of confirmation points, if you're trading the 4-hour time frame, this would be your first confirmation candle that a breakout is here anyway. So you're kind of, very first candle potential positioning. Yeah, what about all the unswept lows? Yeah, sure. So again, if that situation develops and we get back down here, then obviously we're probably just going to be more into the ranging environment again. So we're going to be back into this environment here, potentially worse. But again, that's something to consider if we fall back under this green level here. I don't think for now it would be a point of worry. I don't think it's something that you should concern yourself about. Momentum at the moment, as it stands, is very clearly to the upside. 10 minutes until the 4-hour candle close, as long as I don't curse this into closing red. Momentum is very clearly to the upside through here after a very long period of chop. If we fall back under green, then yes, the lows are going to get swept. Apart from that, we try and ride the momentum to the upside. Resistances, I mean, I think probably there's really two areas, and that's 70k and that's 68,500. I think basically what you'd be looking for here is probably somewhere in this zone here, or the 70ks. 70ks would be far better. This area here would be just the resistance zone that I'd be looking for. And the reason being is that this is just going to play into that lower high. This is just going to play into the lower high structure. So if we trade somewhere up here, that is the potential failure point again for market structure trend. And this area here would be the concern. But I would definitely expect to see some sort of battle go on in this place. For my system, I can't enter longs into these areas, but interesting to see how you would play it here. Really, the play sets itself. This is a classic example of people see a strong green candle and they can't play it because their stop loss can't be as tight as they want it to be. And that's because of risk management. So when you're talking about like how do you play this, like the simplicity perspective is you play it from there. You have your stop loss somewhere underneath this level, whether or not you want it like down here below the impulse. And then your target region 68.5 for taking profit on some of the position, 70k if we get up there for taking some profit on the rest, and then hoping for the breakout and that this position sticks. Like that's how you play the position. A lot of people won't be able to do that because they'll look at a 5% stop loss distance. They won't be able to enter the over leverage size they want to enter. And they won't be able to take a position like this. But when it comes to playing a breakout, this is all you're doing. You're playing into the candle close of the breakout. And that's it. If you wanted to be like super tight about it, you'd play underneath the candle here. And you could get it down to 3.8%. But that's all you're doing. From a breakout perspective, that's the only thing that you're looking at doing here. Yeah, I saw Don talking about the consolidation above previous all-time high. Do you agree? Yeah, I posted the same chart, basically, I think a little bit before Don, which was basically just like, just take this chart here, take this monthly, and then just pray that it stays above here, and that's all you need to do. Just don't go onto other time frames, just look here, and as long as it sticks this situation here, this is a very good-looking higher time frame chart. So that's the only thing that you know from the higher time frame. This still looks very, very strong through here. And obviously the monthly candle is just going to look even better, you know, especially if this gets into closing green with this move down here as well. And you can see just where that level was as well. You know, look at all the interaction here. It's exactly where that level was. Yeah, there's a lot of price action on Doge today before this move upwards. Do you have any idea why there was so much buying going on? Well, Doge looks in a really good position anyway. From higher time frame perspectives, Doge is in a very nice position through here. So, you know, kind of that monthly chart dipping back down into this bottom region down here, kind of sub 10 cents. And then the weekly as well. The weekly's still holding the top of the range. So this top resistance area from 22.23, it's still actually holding down here. So that's still a positive sign. So essentially just buying the support regions on the higher time frame for Doge right now. And then, like I said, hopefully we get this patch of, you know, 20 IQ conditions where we see upside on everything and we're able to kind of, you know, play into that and to get a little bit creative with our positioning and... Yeah, the 5-month Doge long, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if the setup's still on or if I've pressed the delete all button on Doge. It's still overlaid here. Yeah, January 24. It's longer than that. It's 8 months. Good God. Add. Yeah, let's just start slamming it now. Yeah. All right, let's do ETH, and then we'll do Sol. Cover off here. Now, ETH today, I was posting in the Haven about ETH today because ETH had some quite nice price action at, you know, through this zone here where the aggression came in. It actually did pretty well. ETH did pretty well through here. So ETH is breaking through a similar region to BTC. We've got basically 2680, and we know how much of a problem 2700 has caused us before as well through here. So we've got a couple of little zones that we can use lower time frame for ETH. We can probably just like mask off here, 2700. And we know that this area here is a bit of a sticking point for us. So any clean closes above this zone here are just going to pave the way to 2900. Relatively easy trade through this region. The hourly, you've got the nice breakout here of 2680. Is 2680 that really important daily level? Not too bad. Not too bad. So yeah, you've got the breakout at 2680 here on the hourly. You've got the same situation as BTC when it comes to the lows, but the price action was a little bit nicer in terms of the way that this retested earlier today. So when you look down here on ETH, we actually just came back into this zone here, and the candle managed to close back above. So this was the reaction when JPOW started. This is the 45 minutes after, and even though this candle was aggressive to the downside, it's still held up through this zone here, and you can see it as well on the hourly. Exactly the same situation. Really nice resistance region here. Just completes the flip, and actually RSI stays in a really good position, and then we began the impulse to the upside. So very, very good situation developing on ETH as well. And again, for playing into that thought process here of at least catching a trade to 2900s. Obvious region here. 3 major support points just below 2900. Looks like where we'll gravitate to. Yeah, the daily's in a nice position here on that 50. And the weekly's still fine as well. 2500 is still kind of the really important point. And we still did a pretty good job of holding through that zone, 10% above it now. Lower time frame. Yeah, I mean, it would be wise to consider an area of cool off or consolidation. I would like to not see a choppy weekend. I'd rather see continuation, but I suspect that we'll get some lower time frame cooling. Let's just hope it's not too aggressive. Yeah, I don't think that ETH should be the catch-up play. I still think he's in a good position. Again, I always phrase ETH because it's really difficult from, to kind of like talk about ETH, because I wrote that long post on Twitter about ETH psychology being ruined. And, that's still the situation. That's still the case. And I really think now it depends entirely on the individual if you want to long ETH or not. Like, I think it's really such like a polarizing thing. It's, do you want to hold ETH that has underperformed? But there's still, even though we've said it many times before, there's still a chance that it does have its patch of outperformance. So that's just going to be a personal decision on whether or not people want to do that. And then we've got the Sol side of things. And Sol really does look in very, very solid shape here. So the daily is starting to turn around and break through this region here. It's been a little kind of less clear than some of the other markets. So we've got this zone through here. Basically 146s, 148s have been a trouble point for Sol, and we're now starting to trade back above that. So anything that dips into this kind of 146 zone, I think, is probably the buying opportunity. This move down here, I think, would be the one into 146s that you would want to pay attention to. And again, lower time frame, that might be kind of just about right, depending on what takes place now. This could be one of those aggressive lower time frame moves that just continues to do this. And then the RSI cools off by doing that, and then it just carries on. That would be ideal for me. But otherwise, anything that dips down here, I think, is probably the area that you would have to be kind of thinking about positioning for Sol. Higher time frame stuff is all very good. 12 hours in a really nice position from an RSI perspective. This is very clean for kind of that momentum change and movement to the upside. And we know that Sol is already in a very good weekly position because Sol already technically has the higher high. So we've already got this. So this is already created, so that's great. And now we've got the higher low here. So we've actually already 50% of the way towards the market structure break. The other range of markets are pretty much only here, but Sol actually already has this fresh high in here. And so hopefully now this will continue to trade up here. It's also one of the best looking majors from a weekly RSI perspective as well, because it's continually held this 50 level. So this is very, very solid through here. Like, I like the Sol setup a lot, but I've liked it for a long time. But my last Sol buy was 118. No, that's a lie. I've bought Sol again since potentially the 140s. So yeah, I think Sol looks very, very good still. POPCAT. POPCAT, very, very nice. Very nice higher time frame setup now. Again, this area here today could have caused some people some concern with the way that we reacted on the hourly. Big move above the highs here. Looks like a rejection. This is the daily level through here, and then just carried on with that move to the upside. Now, the reason it's so important is because it gets through this 65 resistance. Very clean level on a number of touches. It's such a good level, this is. 1 resistance, 2 resistance, 3 resistance, and you also get the mini support here before the very strong breakdown, and hopefully this is now the very strong breakout. So dips down towards 65, that's going to be around a kind of an 8% sell-off, which is neither here nor there for a meme coin like POPCAT. It's a very, very clean setup. So anything that comes back down towards this 65 cents area, you know, is a very strong higher time frame region, and we should see a reaction from there. Yeah, and nice down here as well with this 4-hour divergence. Yeah, this was the trade reasoning. So you have this here, basically have the div here. So you actually just you get your higher lows right down here, because this area here was developing it really nicely, and then basically we just got this fuck you leg down here, which just takes out the longs from here, and then that's it, bottom. Very, very strong. But like I said, dips down here, 65, 64 cents. They're the ones to keep an eye on now. If that does get down here, I don't want to get too hopeful about this, but it might be the last chance before it starts to move. Let's do this. We need the engagement now, so we'll get this posted. Retests of Yeah, he must have been thinking about golf or something. Probably, man. Probably. Yeah, on another horrible round. Questioning my whole existence. I struggle to see why everyone has flipped so bullish. Is there some reason everyone thinks this time won't be a BTC lower high? I think everybody was bullish anyway, man. Like, honestly, I think there are a lot of bulls. Because you look at Cole's tweet. Like, obviously, you know, whenever you're like a very vocal bear, you always drive a lot of engagement anyway. But a lot of people were calling for higher then. I think a lot of people have been kind of quietly bullish through this. I'm not even quietly bullish. I've seen a lot of bullish posts even through this consolidation period, which is basically, you know, we're going to rip to the upside. So basically hold on to your asses, bears, because the move is coming. When it comes to the potential to make the lower high, I think it's only the distinction between what is possible to capture prior to that moment. You know, 68,500 would represent our lower high region here. So you've still got a 7% trade on BTC. And, you know, a lot more in terms of what alts can do. So, you know, actually from that perspective, I think it's probably just the context around it. I think it's absolutely fine to be bullish here based on what we've seen in that last 4-hour candle. Absolutely one of those opportunities to say, look, my bias is fluid. It changes depending on what the price action does. And right now, the last significant movement is to the upside. Therefore, I'm bullish on price in the short term. When it reaches that lower high region, sure, it will be the time to take the foot off the accelerator on the bullish side and say, okay, let's be a little bit more cautious here, see the reaction, see what develops, and then go from there. I played this today. If this is 20 IQ season, this works. Man, 42 months. Thank you, man. Try to do more of these streams frequently as we trending higher. Listen, man, I've been streaming. This is the comeback always to anybody that always bitches about like the paid group thing. I think this is 4 years of pretty much streaming every single week for free. 4 years and pretty much every week. Like pretty much every week. Sure, there's been weeks that I've missed, but in terms of content production, I don't think many people come close to what I've put out in terms of streams. 4 years. Yeah, man. 42 months. Well, you just hit 42 months sub. So that's a monster. So yeah, so anytime anybody always complains about the paid group, it's like, listen, you don't have to fucking join. Right? I've streamed for free for 4 years. Like, chill. Just come watch on a Friday or a Sunday or a Monday, whatever. Streaming crypto charts every Friday night with losers. All right, chill. What else are we going to be doing, man? What else are we going to be doing? Prices aren't high enough to go out. All we can do is just stay in and play video games and stare at the charts, you know? Yeah, 90% of people here are old gamers. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of games again recently. Bro, I'm only 22. Damn, 2 years older than me as well. That's crazy. Pleasure, Reef. Pleasure, man. You've been here a long time as well. $35 months. Good God. Yeah, I just turned 18. Crazy, really. RSI video was goated. Thank you for the content. Pleasure, man. I've been meaning to do that for a while. So when I had to jump in on the Woo tweet, then that was fine. That just worked out. I'd like to convert my channel points into USD. What are my chances? I don't know. Another thing to mention as well, while we're on the kind of like discussion of kind of like all things on that side, if anybody has used my referral links, there was a tweet that I sent out a few weeks ago. If anybody's used my referral links, I just want to clarify for everybody here, your names have been taken. Christ, that sounded threatening. That sounds worse. Your details have been taken. That sounds worse. Shit will be coming up, right? It's all positive stuff, but just don't think that it's been forgotten. It hasn't. But I don't know how to phrase that right now without making it sound like you somehow been entered on a list somewhere. Graduation, yeah. Won a lap dance? Holy. Damn, boys. I wonder if the dancer will be interested in all of my WoW characters. I've been here on many, many, many of your streams since 21. I actually thought you were here even before then. It feels like a blur how much I've learned from you over time. Wish I was half as good as trader, but thank you for the trolls and the insights. Pleasure, man. It's always nice to see you comment on Twitter as well. Andy, come on now. You're trying to get me to leak the paid content. All right. I saw your question. I deliberately ignored you because you're trying to get the leaks. What about the Tron Eco? How many people are actively trading on the Tron ecosystem, by the way? I've been meaning to ask this. How many people are messing around on Tron? Can we look at MATIC? Yeah, MATIC's been very, very strong. Damn, lower time frame. This looks very, very good. This looks very good on lower time frame. Like, surprisingly. Like, obviously, it's been strong as shit through here. I mean, if you're looking for lower time frame breakout, I mean, even the RSI reset here on the hourly, this looks super clean. Like from a lower time frame trading perspective, I would keep an eye on this chart because you've got two things that can happen here. And if you just like map this out here, what you're looking at is basically like, well, does this break out here? And if it does, then you've got to trade into the next resistance zone, which is probably here. So like 5 6s. So you got a really nice scalp in terms of playing it up to here. The other one you've got is it rejects and it clears out the lows and then trades back inside and you long it here. And then the situation that's the worst one is then if it comes up here and it fakes and then does this. But then in that situation, you just get stopped below here anyway. But this is a really good higher time frame, well, really good lower time frame impulse setup because the hourly RSI is now fully reset here back at the 50. And then what that can do is that can facilitate the next move up. RSI bouncing on the top of the 70 level. Quiz for anybody that's been watching the RSI masterclass video. Right, typically a very solid bounce point for strong trending markets. MATIC, very strong trending market based on all of these 4-hour candles that have just been vertical. And the potential then to make that move up here. So you've got a really good resistance around 5.5. You've got a very good little lower time frame money earner. Buy yourself, you know, a nice McDonald's this weekend with the profits if it breaks out. Looks like a very, very solid little setup. Thanks again for all the education regarding spot buys. So picked up some soul spot here at 150. If it goes lower, I might add. If it goes higher and things look good, I might add. Nice, man. Good job. Very nice job. Brother, what the fuck is this? Do you trade emojis on the unicorn meme market? What fucking part of the cycle is this? I don't even know. I got deep into it. Even trading emojis on... What is it? Zuma cycle, bruv? I don't even think this is like Zuma cycle. I think this might be like the fucking Paralympics meta. What's going on here? It's got its own chain? Holy shit. Well, know what I'm doing this weekend. Just wait until this announcement next week. Starting a new stream series where we're emoji trading only. Don't check out their site. It will melt your brain. Oh, God. Right, what the fuck is this shit? I'm looking at it right now. Unicorn meme market. Unicorn chain meme market. The next big thing. Nah, there's no way. What is this? Oh my God. Oh, God. Oh, well, as I said, definitely know what I'm doing this weekend. I mean, he's probably just going to be fucking printing, you know? 50k followers, followed by 50 people that I follow. Holy shit. I'm just going to follow him. Let's follow him. Brother says, I love the music, so happy. Investment thesis. Went on the website, designed like 1994 website. Love the music, dropped 50k into it. Andy, how do you know about this shit too? Yeah, of course that was the airdrop audience. Of course it was. Chat, what's going on now? Why do you all know about this? Why do you all know about this? Yeah, watching the screen 23 hours a day. Yeah. You're too young for this? Sounds like it, man. Let me see. What's the actual chart look like though? Oh god, it's gonna fucking rip. Ha. Oh god. Good shit, guys. Good shit. Yeah, I find it. Don't worry, I got it quick. Listen, I've been in the trenches. I know it's to find shit quick. Nice. All right, well, that was fun. That was nice. That was a good distraction for 10 minutes or so. All right, what we'll do is we'll do another 10 minutes, and then if there's any questions, please let me know. We'll cover off what we can in the next 10 minutes on an otherwise very bullish start to the weekend. But I know you guys have got like clubs to go to, you got drinking to do, girls to meet, friends to meet, you know, partying to be done. So I don't want to keep you too long. So we'll do another 10 minutes and then Got to run, but thank you for everything, CBS. I've learned so much from you. Continue to. Cannot thank you enough. Pleasure, man. That's very, very kind of you. I love messages like that. It's very, very kind. We just sit in front of a computer 24/7 and lose money? Yeah, man. Who needs women anyway, right? Play Lord of the Rings: The Shrine. Nah, man. I've been back playing Marvel Snap again. I've been really big into card shit again. I don't know why, but I loved all TCGs. I've loved trading cards from a young age. That's been like my thing. So I recently got back into like playing some stuff in real life. And I played Marvel Snap a long time ago in beta and then on full release. So I got back into playing a bit of Marvel Snap. And then yeah, just you open the magic cards now. They're still here. I still haven't opened them. I'm just looking to my left because I got a big cabinet here on my left-hand side in the office, which has got like unopened card sets in and loads of like graded video games. It's like my shrine of nostalgia. So the Bloomburrow set's currently in there, still wrapped. I've still got 2 booster boxes of the Lord of the Rings, 3 sealed booster boxes of the Lord of the Rings set. I've got a pre-release sealed pack of Lord of the Rings, and I think it's the collector's booster box sealed. I've got 3 commander decks, Bloomburrow booster box, bundle, and collector's boosters. Yeah, and then everything else in here is man, this is what the stream's going to turn into. Everything else in this cabinet is a lot of graded video games. So I've got like Pokemon Red, sealed, still in its original Game Boy box. Pokemon Snap, sealed, still with the shrink wrap on. Both Zeldas on Game Boy Color, sealed. Majora's Mask, still sealed. So yeah, a lot of stuff. I thought you were 18. I am. I just got, I just enjoy the older things in life. That's all. This used to be a trading stream. Yeah, I got the Zelda Switch is still in there, still sealed in this cabinet here. So I'm looking at that Switch now. It was Tears of the Kingdom. So that one. Oh wait a second. Oh shit, there's actually a trading question in here. May I ask what strategy would you recommend for a beginner scalper? And thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. Support and resistance, along with one indicator. That would be the best and the simplest thing to start. Weekly closes are good, Andy. Weekly closes are good. The monthly is going to be important for stuff like Chewy. Retrace levels to look at on BTC to get back into the move. I was at work during the rep. All right, so the discussion that we've been having today is like, why do you need to buy a dip? Can you not just manage your risk and start to scale in here, considering we've just had a breakout? So when you see the BTC chart up here, can you not start to scale in, given the fact that you're only, you've come back from work at the perfect time, right? You've come back when the 4-hour candle is closed outside of resistance for the very first time in 2 weeks. You come back in at the perfect time. Right? So you can start to build in down here. And then if we get dips, then you can scale in. But from my perspective, it's like, this is your confirmation of a breakout. How kind of much you want to play around with this now is up to you. What strategy would you recommend for a not beginner? how to move to the next level. It's the same concept. The problems that you're going to have are, what happens is, okay, is you begin to trade, you don't know what kind of approach you want to take. So I say to you, well, start off with support and resistance and RSI, let's say, for example. So you do that and you trade really well. You start off and you do really well. And what actually happens, which is the sad thing about crypto and knowledge in general, is that the more that you trade and the more crypto knowledge and trading knowledge that you begin to pick up from various sources and the more time you spend with the charts, the more bad behaviors you'll actually learn. So essentially what happens is you go from being essentially 20 IQ when it comes to trading, because I say to you support and resistance and RSI are very important. You say, okay, that's easy enough. And everything works fine, right? But unfortunately, your trading IQ starts to go up and it hits that magic 70. And so when you ask about what do I do for kind of a non-beginner, the biggest thing is then the psychology, the discipline, and everything that comes along with that. So it's about making sure that we're not actioning those bad habits, because everybody in this stream now knows this thought process is you all are aware of the correct way to do things, right? You're not stupid. You know the right way to do things. You know how you should be entering positions. You know what risk management looks like. You know how support and resistance works. But the longer you spend in this space, the more bad habits you pick up. The more times you want to take a chance on something, the more times you want to do something early, the more times you want to risk up. Right? So like that's the difficulty. So when you ask about what do you do as a non-beginner, you're at the phase probably where the psychology is dominating too much and you start to have too many internal thoughts versus what's represented on the charts. So a lot of people in this like classic situation here, okay, the 20 IQ trader looks at this and they say, oh man, look, big breakout candle, I should be long on this. And they go ahead and they press the long button and they say, yeah, okay, I'm going to long here, I'm going to have a stop loss here, and I'm going to set a target higher. And that's their trade, okay? The 70 IQ trader and the trader with a bit of knowledge starts looking at this and they say, oh, I don't know, man, I looked at the volume in this and the volume was a bit suspect. And I looked at the open interest on spot buys and that was a bit suspect for me. I think this is going to be a deviation through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start waiting now because I think that this is going to deviate through this level here. And so I'm going to sit and not do anything. Right? Like that's what happens when you start to get more knowledge. You start to then look for reasons to not believe what you see in the charts despite the simplicity of something being presented to you. I hope that makes sense. Stock market, very good close. I still like everything on that side. Yeah, bad habits can be very rewarding in crypto. Not necessarily, no. Like, bad habits are not rewarding because it's actually like the consistency element that's the killer for the majority of people. Like what you're actually referring to is a situation in which you act bad habits, but it actually works out positively. Now that obviously is a situation through luck, but it's also a situation in which you can change it to match luck a little bit better. So like doing things, for example, like if you want to start dialing down to like lower time frame and you say, okay, well, you know, let's just take this for example here. And you say, well, look, I think that this situation here, this is just going to be a fake out, let's just say, right? Or this is going to be a sweep of this level here. And so what I'm going to do is, because I'm watching the chart, I'm going to take a very aggressive position here of like a big position size because my stop loss is 0.2% away. And I'm going to go for this. Right, so the bad habit in this situation is kind of, you know, the sizing up, but again, within risk parameters. But the bad habits in general, time after time, will just murder you as an account, not actually do anything to substantiate, you know, a positive trading outcome. there are ways that you can change things in your favor. You know, as I said, one thing that I have learned to do over the years is to make sure that if I suspect that there is momentum to be had, then I can use the lower time frames to enter in larger position sizes because I can be afforded a tighter stop loss. Things like that are really good opportunities, but it's not necessarily a bad habit, I guess, then. It would be changing the bad habit into a more productive outcome. What do you suggest is the best way to build psychology? That's always a really difficult one to answer because the psychology thing is so subjective. It's so dependent on the person. And I think really, you know, the whole like psychological discussion when it comes to trading is such a huge, huge area of coverage. Everybody feels the same things. Everybody struggles in the same way. Even experienced traders still struggle. I always say that anytime I talk about psychology, I never do so from this kind of like God stance where nothing affects me and everybody else is the ones that are afflicted by all these psychological problems. They affect me after all these years in exactly the same way. I still have to balance FOMO. I still have to make sure that, you know, I'm doing things correctly, and I still fall victim to doing them badly. You know, I still fuck up and I still enter things based on FOMO. I still size too large. I still go and blow 10K in an afternoon just because I'm fucking around on lower time frame. Like, all of that shit still happens. The best way to like train it is to really kind of journal everything and really make notes of like what you've done and how you felt. I always find that like the cause and the effect are very, very important in order to overcome things. We spoke previously about when people blow accounts, and I always tell them record a video of how you feel when you've kind of ripped through all of your money. Because one of the most powerful things that we can have to try and stop is by seeing the way that we were emotionally during those times. So if you can kind of write down what's the psychological problems you have, how is it causing you to feel, how is it causing you to act, and then begin to, you know, kind of question yourself when you feel yourself dropping back into that psychological pitfall. How do you drag yourself out before you hit the bottom, basically? Because honestly, the amount of people as well, yeah, you say here, like, it's scary how fast you forget horrible feelings. Yes. Like, one thing that is crazy is the fact I've seen so many people do this. They'll deposit like $1,000. They will trade down to $500. They'll say, right, enough is enough. Then they'll see another good opportunity, so they'll take one more trade. And then because they've dipped under their $500, they'll just continue trading the account to zero, right? That spiral straight to zero. And they do that in the course of like 24 hours, let's say. And then what they say is they say, fuck this, you know, I'm going to take a break. I'm done. I've just blown $1,000 in 24 hours. What am I doing? Stop. And by the next morning, they'll wake up and they'll redeposit money. They'll literally wake up, they'll redeposit their money, and they'll trade again, as though it never happened, as though the last 24 hours never happened, and as though they didn't have those feelings about stopping, and they've just ignored it, and they've just basically gone straight into a fresh day and said, oh, well, time to go again. Yeah, that's more like a gambling addiction. Well, that's what it is. All right, so that's the addictive quality to trading. That's the addictive element. Yeah, which indicator would you choose if you can only have one on? RSI, yes, sir. Yeah, 50 level's still here. That's not gone anywhere. All right, we're gonna wrap up here. This here, this is just showing that it's in the overbought region. That's all. I think this is trading view default now. So it just shades in whenever it's in these regions. Been a while since I attended a stream. What a good stream. Many thanks. Pleasure, man. A pleasure. We'll catch up in a week. So I'm going to be away for the next week. and then we'll catch up when I'm back. So hopefully I'll just be able to just tweet lots because the markets are just going up. So I'll be able to just shit post and just do lots of bull posting and be like, fucking keep buying everything. Like, let's go. And yeah, and I will be back next week to cover everything off. Thanks for the RSI vid. Not a problem at all. If anybody doesn't know what everybody's referring to, I released a new video on RSI. It's about 45 minutes long, covers all of the thought process for how to use RSI, or my thoughts when it comes to using RSI anyway, kind of dispelling some of the myths and the thought process behind common usage of RSI and why it gets such a bad reputation, and kind of covering a more productive way to use it and to think about it. So if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. I'll link the video on Twitter because it will give me a good opportunity to share it again anyway. So I'll link it on Twitter after this is done. So you'll find it there. And a big thank you as well again to the Tensor guys, always very accommodating for me. So it's very much appreciated. And obviously, please go and check out Tensor as well to get all of your fix on that side of things. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope that today has brought you some financial joy and that you get to enjoy the rest of your night in the club, partying, hanging with all the women. And I'll see you all in a week.